1800 hours, Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Ali Ahmed. First, the headlines. Foreign Minister, in a letter to the UNSC President and the United Nations Secretary General, has urged them to take note of the repression in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir amid reports of the fresh Indian attempts to change their demography. Speaker National Assembly has decided to constitute a parliamentary committee to devise the rules for running the House amicably in cordial environment. Minister for Information and Technology inaugurating Smart Village project in Islamabad today says the government is striving to achieve the target of Digital Pakistan. AJK Legislative Assembly session was adjourned sine die without presenting the budget for next fiscal year today. European Union has decided to lift travel restrictions on 8 countries imposed last year in view of the pandemic. In the Pakistan Super League at Abu Dhabi, Multan Sultans will take on Quetta Gladiators tonight. And now the news in detail. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi, in a letter to the United Nations Security Council President and the UN Secretary General, has urged them to take note of the repression in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. In his letter, the Foreign Minister pointed out that India may be contemplating the imposition of further illegal and unilateral measures in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, including division, bifurcation and additional demographic changes. He urged the Security Council to call upon India to end its campaign of repression in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and reverse all its illegal actions, including those initiated on and after 5th of August 2019, and to cease and desist from imposing any additional and unilateral changes in the occupied territory. Shah Mahmood Qureshi underscored that all the unilateral and illegal actions taken by India in illegal occupied Jammu and Kashmir are violations of international law, including the Security Council resolutions and the 4th Geneva Convention. Stressing that the people of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir had vociferously rejected the illegal measures imposed by India, the Foreign Minister called upon the Security Council to fulfill its responsibility to ensure full implementation of its resolutions on the Jammu and Kashmir dispute. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi says the world is appreciating Pakistan's efforts for peace in Afghanistan. In a statement today, he said, "We stand with peace and stability." The Foreign Minister said the next couple of weeks and months are very important in respect of Afghan peace process. He said 50% withdrawal of the allied forces from Afghanistan has already been completed and the process continues. He said, "We have reached an understanding with the Afghan leadership that they will not let their soil to be used against Pakistan, and we have also been pursuing a clear policy that we will not allow anyone to use our land against Afghanistan or any other country." Speaker National Assembly Asad Qasser has said the yesterday's incident and the use of non-parliamentary language by some members has undermined the sanctity of the House. Presiding over the session which resumed at Parliament House in Islamabad today, he said action has already been taken against some of the members of the National Assembly. The Speaker said Rana Tanveer Hussain of Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz has proposed him to constitute a parliamentary committee to further probe the matter and decide rules for running business of the House in an amicable and cordial environment. He asked the opposition and the Treasury benches to nominate 6 members each for the committee. Asad Qasser said he will fully implement the recommendations to be submitted by the parliamentary committee. Minister for Information Technology and Telecom Aminul Haq says the government is striving to achieve the target of Digital Pakistan under the vision of Prime Minister Imran Khan. Addressing the inaugural ceremony of Smart Village in Islamabad today, he said centers equipped with modern facilities will be established in the backward areas of the country under this project. The minister said the basic objective of this project is to persuade and train the common people to use the digital technology. Special Assistant on Poverty Alleviation Dr. Sanya Nishtar says an e-portal Ehsaas Digital is being launched to address the basic queries of people about Ehsaas program. Addressing a news conference in Islamabad today, she said the government has introduced the first version of the portal and it will be updated in future as per the emerging requirements. Sanya Nishtar said people will be able to have information regarding eligibility criteria for different projects under Ehsaas program. This is Radio Pakistan. Azad Jammu and Kashmir budget session has been adjourned, signed die. The AJK cabinet, which met in Muzaffarabad today, could not approve the budget proposals. AJK Prime Minister Raja Farooq Haider informed the Legislative Assembly that the cabinet will take up some matters relating to the finance bill with the federal government. He said after reaching a consensus, the budget for the fiscal year 2021-22 will be presented. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Indian troops in their fresh act of state terrorism martyred one more Kashmiri youth extrajudicially in Srinagar. According to Kashmir Media Service, the youth was killed during a cordon and search operation in Wagura area of Srinagar last night. He was reportedly picked up by the troops and was shot dead after they switched off the Wagura grid station to create darkness in the area. All parties Hurriyat Conference in charge Women Wing, Yasmin Raja strongly condemned the gross human rights abuses and custodial killings of civilians by Indian forces in the occupied territory. Rights activist Mohammad Ehsan Antu demanded the trial of the Indian troops involved in his murder in the International Court of Justice. An analytical report released by Kashmir Media Service today said that Muslims in India are facing existential threat under the fascist government of Modi-led Bharatiya Janata Party, which after Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir is now eyeing Muslim-majority Lakshadweep Islands. Tehreek-e-Kashmir UK staged a protest outside the Indian consulate in Birmingham against the killing of 3 innocent Kashmiris by the Indian Army in Suffolk town. In the West Bank, Israeli troops martyred a Palestinian woman today. The 29-year-old Afana was a doctoral student and the resident of occupied Jerusalem. The incident came amid tensions sparked by yesterday's so-called flag march staged by Jew hardliners in East Jerusalem. European Union is set to lift travel restrictions on 8 countries, including the United States. It was decided in the meeting of the European Union's 27 member countries held in Brussels today. These states are Albania, North Macedonia, Serbia, Lebanon, the United States, Taiwan, Macau, and Hong Kong. The move will allow non-essential travel across the European Union to the citizens of the said countries, regardless of their vaccination status. The European Union had closed its external boundaries in March 2020 for non-essential travels due to COVID-19. In Indonesia, an earthquake of a magnitude 6.1 jolted eastern province of Maluku today. Although no casualty has so far been reported yet, the seismologists have warned for tsunami as well as possible aftershocks. In Pakistan's Super League at Abu Dhabi, Multan Sultans will take on Quetta Gladiators tonight. The match will start at 9 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time. And finally, the weather report. Hot and dry weather is expected in most parts of the country during the next 12 hours. However, rain, wind, thunder shower is expected in northeast and south Punjab, northeast Balochistan and upper Sindh. Isolated heavy falls and hailstorm are also likely during the period. Rain, wind, thunderstorm is also expected in few districts of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Gilgit-Baltistan and Kashmir. To end the news, once again the headlines. Foreign Minister in a letter to the UNSC President and the UN Secretary General has urged them to take note of the repression in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir amid reports of fresh Indian attempts to change their demography. Speaker National Assembly has decided to constitute a parliamentary committee to devise rules for running the House amicably in cordial environment. Minister for Information Technology inaugurating Smart Village project in Islamabad today says the government is striving to achieve the target of Digital Pakistan. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analysis, log on to our website radio.gov.pk. And for the live video streaming of our bulletins, visit the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News.